All right, everyone, thanks for coming. So this is the first workshop we're having for this project. This is one of the recently funded data infrastructure building blocks started 9 months ago. This project's Brown Dog. I'm the PI of it, Kenton McHenry. The room is filled with a number of us. Some of you we know already, and others we don't know. But we have heard of your work, and it kind of seemed like it fit into the kind of things we're doing, and maybe we can help you with. So basically, as we'll go through the day, we'll describe the project. We'll go into the technologies. We'll go into the use cases that are part of the proposal. This being an early user workshop, though, the main focus, the goal of this workshop is to basically make sure that what we're building as part of this project, which I'll describe shortly, meets a broad audience of needs, a broad set of needs. It's not specific to the use cases that we put in the proposal. And this is all part of the sustainability of the project. We want the project to last. We don't want it really to limp from grant to grant, from project to project. We really would like it to be something that has a chance at really sustaining itself, the software, towards meeting scientific needs and towards meeting a variety of needs. So in essence, what we're building here is tools to access data, and specifically at the very beginning steps of accessing data, dealing with file formats, dealing with data that has no metadata to it. And so we'll be building two services. One's called Data Access Proxy, which will be this glorified universal conversion engine. And another is called the Data Tilling Service, which will use a series of tools based on AI, natural language processing, computer vision, whatnot, to basically go into the contents of a file and rip out some piece of information that's useful to index it by. Then to allow you to use it to compare files, to search along collections of files, and to do this in a potentially scalable manner so that you don't have to do it manually, have lots of students, outsource it overseas, stuff like that. So in a nutshell, that's the project Brown Dog. I'm glad you all can make it. Hopefully none of you had too many troubles getting here. I heard we had a few cancellations and reroutes and rental cars, but I think it worked out okay. So what I'll do now is I'll hand it over to Dave Mattson, our project manager. He'll basically get us organized, and then we'll get into some of the details of the workshop. Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks, Kenton. Like Kenton said, what I'm planning to do here first off is just give you a lay of the land of the workshop, what we're trying to accomplish, the goals and outcomes that we have envisioned for this workshop. And then right after that, we'll get more into what is Brown Dog, what can it do for your research, and all of that. So many of you who I have sent some email to may have seen this list already. These are essentially the goals of the workshop. First of all, I want to just mention we're split about half and half here from half from Brown Dog, developers and science use cases. So that's about half of us in this room. And then the other half are invited participants that Kenton said. We know something of your work and the efforts that you're trying to do. And so we're sort of split half and half. And so the real sort of focus of this workshop is on that half of you who are guests, who are invited to help us understand what you're doing so that we can make Brown Dog better. So our goals for you are, number one, to understand what Brown Dog is. So we'll have some presentations. Kenton's overview of Brown Dog will be first, after we get some introductions out of the way. And then what we'll do is go right into 3 use case presentations. So we have funded in Brown Dog 3 science use cases. And the idea is, for the last 9 months, we've been doing with them what we're hoping to do with you today and tomorrow. So that is understand your research, help you understand what Brown Dog is, so that you can begin imagining what Brown Dog could do in your research endeavors. One of the things you'll notice for this purpose of understanding what Brown Dog is, we have these posters on the side. We envision this as sort of a quick reference. We're using, these terms like the DAP or the DTS. There are meanings there that the Brown Dog team has come to understand, and maybe we're using some of these terms a little bit different than, or new terms that are new to you. So the idea behind these posters were just that you could quickly glance over and see, okay, yeah, DAP, I remember what he's talking about now, something like that. So that's just what those are. We know that there's some text there that's impossible for you to see where you're sitting, but you can take a closer look during breaks and things like that. Another goal is that we will spend some time talking with you this afternoon, one-on-one and in small groups, specifically about your research, helping answer any questions that you have about brown dog, and I'll talk more about that later. But our goal is to document the requirements that you would have, both for software tools that you'd like to see incorporated in brown dog, also file format conversions that you would like to see as part of brown dog. And then also we'll ask you for some just general feedback, sort of software feature feedback, that kind of thing from what you've seen so far. And then also we're seeing this workshop as sort of a kickoff of continuing to engage you as sort of a early user community. So we have a wiki and brown dog mailing list and things like that I'll talk more about that as well. In terms of the outcomes of the workshop, I've mentioned some of these before. So primarily, we want to develop lists of possible tools and services, data conversion, metadata extraction tools, analysis tools that you would like to see in brown dog. We will add your lists to the lists that we already have for the funded use cases, and then prioritize what's possible, what do we need your help to bring into brown dog, what can we do, all of that kind of stuff. So that's really the top priority of this workshop, is to gather that information from you so that we can make brown dog more useful both to you and to a broader audience than if we were coming up with this stuff on our own. We also see this as a way to gain brown dog users and contributors of tools. So hopefully you'll see things that are interesting enough to you today and tomorrow that will make you excited about the possibilities in brown dog, and that you'll want to contribute maybe scripts in your lab or other software tools that you use that could be useful to others in brown dog. Like I said, we'll ask for some feedback on software, features, those kinds of things. And then, obviously, as we all are, we're thinking about collaborations and where could you see brown dog fitting in with new projects or proposals, things like that. So we're happy to talk with you about that. So brown dog is the super mud of software. This is not the super mud of software, right? This is like some pedigree, pure blood dog here. Brown dog is a super mud of software, and we need your information, your software, your ideas for software to make it this super mud. So the super mud is essentially brown dog won't be one monolithic piece of software that will do all of these things, but brown dog is a set of services that will use existing software to do these things. You'll hear more about that later. But so I want to make that as clear as possible at the beginning, that we would like your input so that we can make our requirements list, prioritize, and think through all those things. Primarily, we're looking for input from you all in 3 ways. Starting at the end and moving closer toward today, the last one is this end of workshop survey. We will ask you at the end, after you've left, I'll send this out in email. We would like to collect some of this information that we're talking about during the workshop in this survey. I have put in your folders a sheet with some blank tables on it. And this is essentially a note sheet for yourself. We're not asking you to turn this back into us or anything like that. But this is essentially lists some of the information that will be on this end of workshop survey. And so as you're thinking about brown dog, as you're learning what it is and what it can do, and sort of envisioning, let wildest dreams in terms of access to data go wild, and jot those things down on this page so that you can remember the things that you're thinking about during the workshop and be able to present that back to us afterward. So you'll see that these are basically split into two groups. The top is data collections. What data collections would you love to have access to that maybe are unstructured or uncurated? Maybe you have data available to you, but you can't really use it because it's a very manual process, things like that. These are the kinds of data collections that we'd like you to think about. Also, the bottom is sort of software. So what tools do you use? What tools would you like to use as you begin to understand more about Brown Dog? What seems to you to be great prospects for bringing into Brown Dog? So that's the survey. Tomorrow morning, we've asked our guests to give 5-minute lightning talks. And essentially the idea there is that once you've had a day to sort of think about Brown Dog in the context of your own research, that will come together in your lightning talk tomorrow morning. So we're hoping that you will give us information about your research, your tools, software tools that you use, the data collections, and also how you envision Brown Dog to be used in your research. So that'll happen in a 5-minute lightning talk, and I think I've talked with most of you. I know that there are some groups that are here together. I think it would make the most sense if one talk would come from that single group instead of each one of you giving a talk, but we'll get that detailed in the next, probably this afternoon. And then the third thing, which is the first thing coming up, is this afternoon we have a large breakout session that'll essentially be the 2 hours near the end of the day. The purpose of that I'll detail out a little bit later, but essentially what we want to do in that breakout session is have conversations with you in preparation for your lightning talk and in preparation for you filling out this survey. So that's where you'll be starting to think about what software, what tools, what data collections you're interested in, and we'll pair you up with Brown Dog developers to help make sure you're understanding what we're intending, and so that they can understand what you mean by, as you describe your research and your software, how you use your software, those kinds of things. So that'll be this afternoon. And finally, I guess I didn't put this on the slide. The final way that we would like to gain your input is by having conversations here, both informally and at the session. So we really encourage you to ask questions of our speakers. So we've asked all of our speakers, both from the developer side and also from the use case side, to leave time for questions. And we would like, during that question time, for you to engage and make sure that you understand how we're envisioning Brown Dog. And so we really invite you to talk with us about your ideas and all of that. And then at the end of tomorrow, we'll have a broader sort of free-ranging conversation about feedback, ideas, things like that. But definitely during the sessions, we'd like you to ask questions. Finally, the agenda is in your packet there, both for today and tomorrow, so I don't think I need to go too far into this.